what does success look like in year one of Kellen Moore? Is it Derek Carr at quarterback? Is it them venturing out and getting somebody? Is it just leaving all of that as it is and then bringing in other pieces at positions like guard, tackle on the defense? What does success look like for Kellen Moore in year one?
Just one point though on the last thing. My pick though in the 7th round, I'm going Hunter Deckers. That's my guy. I'd go all in on. Not all in on, just to throw a 7th at him to see.
Yeah.
Success in year one is kind of interesting for Kellen, and I think it can be defined a lot of different ways. I think obviously part of it's on the ledger. I think you need to be right around 500. You can't be worse than you were last year, especially when they're making efforts to try to be a better team. But I think, well, maybe not a better team, but to sustain and add to what they had last year. But I think overall, like the main thing to me is just going to be, it's going to be something that I think is felt almost more than it's seen, and you can feel it being around. Even from we're in the building, but we're at a 50-yard vantage point. But even at that 50-yard vantage point, you could still feel things, and there's still things that come out of a locker room when everyone's pissed off. And if you aren't hearing things coming out of the locker room, and if you aren't feeling that, and there's just a general excitement around what's going on, and when you're in that locker room, I think you know where to go to feel the temperature on different things. If the temperature feels good in some of these corners, I think that would be a highly successful thing. I think it's just about really starting to establish the culture, which again, seen and felt more than seen, I think.
Right.
And then number 2 is the injury thing. Like Ted Rath has to work. Like that has to be a hit. That has to be a hit. You got to have a plan on it. You got to improve that. And I think injuries are something that are earned. Sean Payton said that, and I agree with it. I think it's something that's earned. I think part of the injury thing last year, and we saw a little bit of a changeover when Rizzi took over. I think part of that was cultural. I think part of it's people aren't bought into everything that's going on, and details start lacking. And I think when the details start lacking, that's going to be on some of the body maintenance stuff. That's going to be on some of the stretching. I mean, man, you see it. Like we go out there, we watch them stretch. There's some days where it's like, what are they doing? Like nobody's out here actually stretching. And then Rizzy takes over, and you see the whole thing because people were bought into it again. I just think little things like that are fraying of the culture is where you start to see it, is just in those little minor details that you may not be paying attention to, but then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, I don't know that I ever seen so-and-so ever stretch. And
Right.
then all of a sudden you see him stretch, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. And, that used to be a thing with Drew. Drew used to turn that thing into a competition, and literally every single day you would see him out there until the very end, and nobody was going to stretch longer than him. Like it felt like there were a couple guys that would try to compete, and Drew would just keep going and keep going. And then once they were done, he would stop. And just seeing if there's things like that going on, I think you have good culture. I just want to see a culture established.
No, Breeze had a patented stretch move that became like viral on the internet. It's like something that he does. So that's definitely a person that took it seriously. And even you look at some of the leaders on the team, man, we've done the stories on how they take extra care of their body, outside of the building, how they take extra care of the preparation that goes into playing on a game day. And then you look at the buy-in, and I felt the shift kind of already. We'll have to see how it goes throughout the season. But you look at the buy-in of somebody like Chase Young, who's only been here for a year and is talking about how he's made a significant effort in investing in his body, in his personal time by buying a machine for his home. And I mean, I know it's tired of just saying, oh, injuries. Without the injuries, this team would have made the playoffs, or, any type of narrative you want to form on that if the injuries weren't happening. But injuries happen to everyone. You just have to ensure that you can roll with the punches, that you can make it happen. Like even last season, just talking about how crazy it was, we would go to like a Friday practice and then we'll wait for the injury report to come out. And we would have a general expectation of, okay, I know this person barely practiced this week. This person was limited, no pads or whatever. Then you come out and P. Warner is hurt. Olave is hurt. And it's like, how did that happen in that small window of time? So I definitely think that Todd Rath and him coming in and really, I don't know if it's flipping it upside down, because there were some good things at the end of the season with the way that Rizzi introduced, what was the phrase, dynamic stretching, that practice. I think just that level of buy-in and carryover will kind of float this team, man. But talent
The
wise,
the activation period.
activation period. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it was. The activation period. Talent wise, though, I mean, they're running the back. They're running the back. They re-signed Jawan. They re-signed Chase Young. You have a lot of the same people at these different positions. So we'll have to see. I think putting a number on it, success would look like, of course, better than the 5 games they won last year, but maybe seven. Seven right now for me is okay. This is something. I've been
If they
burned too
went
many times to go higher than that.
Yeah, if they went five, I would be shocked if it's five or worse. I would be shocked, and I feel like that's kind of the expectation in the fan base, and I don't really understand it. I was at the barber shop yesterday, and we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, I think they'll probably be like right around 500.
Yeah.
500. Shout out to Chris. Check him out at Revival. Chris agreed with me. But
PvP.
yeah, they said they were just in there, and that's just kind of the tone of the fan base. So is that it's going to be worse? Like, how is it going to be worse? Like the level of negativity is kind of insane right now, really
Yeah.
around the team, and I get it, and I get why it
It's
exists, and I get
warranted.
that
Yeah, for sure.
last season was rough, and there hasn't been significant change in the path. I get frustration with the path and everything, but I would be really surprised if the path doesn't lead you in that 7 to 9 basket, which is where the league is designed to be. And there's obviously you have your outliers on one side and your outliers
Yeah.
on the other, the teams that are really, really bad and the teams that are really, really good, and they exist over in their spaces. And then everybody else is in the middle. And the league is designed for you get a couple lucky breaks and you exceed, or things go significantly wrong and you fall the other way. Things went significantly wrong for the Saints last year.
Yeah.
If they adjust some of those things, I expect them to be right back in that middle portion. And that's where I think the conversation should exist from, is that the right approach or is that the wrong approach? But it shouldn't be this is ass and everything is terrible and they're going to win 3 games. I just don't see a 3-win team here. I don't see a 5-win team here. I see a team that's in the middle, and I see a team that's in the middle, and I've started to get frustrated with it. It's tiresome. It's boring. It's feels like the same thing over and over, but it's
Right.
just the differing philosophies. Are you in the middle and you try to hit and go, or do you try to bottom out and then build up if you hit from there? The argument would be if you go way down and bottom out, maybe you're closer to getting your quarterback. The argument for being in the middle would be it's always hard to get the quarterback and it's easier to get to 12 from 8 than it is from 4. And it's just a differing philosophies. But the idea that they are worse than a 5-win team or a 5-win team, or I just I don't agree with that. I would say I think seven's a fair number,
Mhm.
and seven's probably even a little bit snake bitten, to be honest.
I think so. I agree.
If you factor in injuries and better coaching,
Yeah.
it's probably a more realistic number. But I'm at 7 with you. I've been bitten by the snake. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. The
Yeah.
blind faith is over. I think seven's a really fair number though.
Yeah, for sure. And then we'll have to see what they do in the draft. If they add a piece where it's like, hey
Yeah,
man, this could possibly add a win or a late free agent signing, something like that going into camp, then yeah, that number can definitely go up. But I think I don't want to say the cynicism is warranted across the board of saying, oh, well, this team sucks. They're gonna be 3 wins. Just blow it all up. Hey, I'm not even in the point where I'm like, hey, you're completely wrong, but it's just take a breath, think about it
it's
again.
mad talk. Yeah, it's mad talk. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. But hey, it's warranted. You've been bit on the butt a couple times.